Hello YouTube, this is Keith Kevin Kent. How you doing? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. It's time again to take a look at all the knives I bought in 2019. Yeah, we're still doing it. I think this is episode 8 and we've got all the knives you see on my desk to go through. So we'll be doing this for a while. It was a big year 2019 for me and knives. I bought a lot of them from a lot of different distributors. Today, on this video, we're going to take a look at Spyderco's statement knives in 2019 that I purchased. Now, the smock isn't here because I sold that knife. But other than that, a statement knife, as I see it, are the standout knives. The knives we were all waiting to see, at least I was waiting for Spyderco to release. So we'll talk about those. Now, obviously, let me put these down so I don't cut myself. One of the knives, I mean, if you're going to talk about statement knives and Spyderco in 2019, you have to talk about the Drunken. This was the first time that Dmitry Sinkovich collaborated with Spyderco. Spyderco has collaborated with a lot of great knife makers. But when you talk about Sinkovich and his knives, you know, he's done a lot with ZT. I'm sure he, of course, all of his custom stuff. But this one we were looking for. This had a price point of about $500 for Spyderco. Now, you guys know, if you're new to this channel, I purchased a lot of knives. A lot of Spydercos, a lot of Chris Reeve knives, Browse blades, and I have about 7 custom knives. There's something, and I love Spyderco, but there's something about a $500 Spyderco knife, I have to admit, even though I love the Drunken, I have a problem with. And I don't know why. Okay? I guess I keep thinking about I don't know. I guess I keep thinking about the Chris Reeve knives that I could buy instead of a Drunken. Okay? I guess I just don't expect, they don't do a lot of $500 knives, so I'm always surprised. They do expensive knives, but when you get to the $500 range, it's just surprising to me. They did 2 knives this year in that range. The first was the Drunken. Like I said, the Sinkovich collaboration, S90V steel. Spyderco has gotten smart, especially in 2019. You know, in the past, they would do these really big, high-profile specialty knives, and what would happen is, like Peter Rosenti or something, and they would have everything nice, done well, custom clip, custom pivot, everything, and then they would have S30V steel, and everyone would go crazy. I think now they're looking at S90V steel for a lot of their high-end knives. The Drunken S90V steel, 3.4-inch blade, 8 inches total, weighs 3.1 ounces, and that is what I think they did very well. The skeletonization of this thing to keep this knife down to just 3.1 ounces, and I tell you, it feels super light. Super light. And like I said, they went all out. Now remember, this is a production knife, but they have that custom-like pivot. Of course, carbon fiber on the show side. You see the unique lanyard hole. You have the back spacer, carbon fiber, and then titanium, and again, a custom-like pocket clip. The reason it's called Drunken, I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a pattern that goes through the carbon fiber. You can see it more on the titanium, I think. Can you see that pattern, the wavy pattern? That's called the Drunken pattern, and that's why this is called the Drunken. Frame lock. It's a beautiful knife. That's why I made sure I didn't trim this when I was trimming the smock and others. I wanted to keep this one for a while. Just nice and smooth. Very nice knife. That is the Drunken. The other one that was just $1 or $2 shy of the $500 was the Paysan. Another Peter Rossetti collaboration. Integral, is it integral? Integral frame. In other words, this titanium, which is 3D, is just one piece of titanium used for the whole thing. Hard to do when you're talking about a production knife, but it's just so great because a lot of his knives are like that. Just a real nice knife. The Paysan, again, CPM S90V steel, 3.9 inch blade. Big knife, but man, it feels so nice, especially with the handle. I know I mispronounced the process of the handle, but the fact is just one piece. It's 3D. It feels so great in the hand. I love how thin it is as well. It feels like a $500 knife, but I already told you about the queasiness. Every time I pick up this or the Drunken, I think about the large Chris Reeve knife that I didn't buy. But that's me. S90V steel, as I told you, they kind of bow to S90V, which is great steel for these high-end knives. 3.9 inches, 8.7 inch total, and this one weighs 4.4 ounces. But just a beautiful knife. The Paysan. This is a knife that you don't see around a lot. This was one of the later releases from Spyderco. A Paul Alexander collaboration. Paul Alexander has done, I want to say 3 knives with Spyderco. 3 or 4. And you can pretty much tell by his blade shapes. He has these wonderful blades with the belly, with a forward choil right here with the blade. An interesting and odd blade, but man, it works well. It really does. It's a great cutter. The Parata, the Spyderco Parata, VG10 steel, 3.5 inch blade. You take out that choil, it's 3.3 inches for the edge. The total length is 8.1 inches. Weighs just over 3.1 ounces, or just under 3.1 ounces. Black G10, and this is a new Spyderco lock. It's called the Stop Lock. You see this? Let's see. Push it up, which releases the knife, and then it locks in. It's called the Spyderco Stop Lock. Let's see it from this side. On both sides, lift it up. You see inside there? Releases the blade. It comes around and then locks back in. Spyderco Parata, see-through construction, wire clip, right hand, left hand, tip up. Just a real nice knife. The Parata. Paul Alexander continues to design interesting knives for Spyderco. I also like that you have this wide blade, but when you put it into the handle, look how wide it is. Yes, there's some above, but it gets a lot thinner, easier to carry in the pocket. It does take up space in the pocket, but not as much as you would think with a blade like that. This was a controversial but a statement knife. It's the Tropen, the Spyderco Tropen. I really like this knife. It's so well built. It actually has 3 ways to open the knife. The first way is it's a flipper. That's me, guys. First way is the flipper. You see that? Second way, there's an Emerson opener. So if you just pulled it out of your pocket, the blade would open automatically without even flipping it. And then the third way, you can open it right with the Spidey hole. Nice, smooth. Looks a little different because it has that Emerson and the flipper. But it's 3 different ways. It's the Tropen. S30V steel. Big blade, big long blade that's flat ground. 4-inch blade. The total length of this is 9.1 inches. And it weighs 4.1 ounces. The controversial part is when you release it with the compression lock. And by the way, Spyderco over the past 2 years have done a lot of compression locks on flippers. And one thing about those, all of them, because of how the compression lock is done, the flipping tab hits your finger, right? When it gets to a point. You can pull your finger out knowing that it's going to get to that point. But that happens on all the compression locks. But on this one, you see right there? Let's see if we can. I don't know why this thing won't. Yeah, that's the sharp end of the blade that close to the flipper tab. It has not bitten me at all. The flipper tab hits you way before that edge right there goes in. So your finger is not there. When you hit the flipper, it's up here. It just feels and looks weird, right? Having that the sharp part of the blade that close to the lock. So if I never saw that, I'd be very comfortable. I've always got that in my mind. But I have flipped this and played with it. It doesn't bite me. It's hard to bite because, of course, the flipper gets you out of there before the edge does. But that's always been an issue with the Tropen, I think. Wonderful, smooth G10. I think Spyderco does the best smooth G10 ever. It just feels luxurious. Regular clip, which is weird to me, on a knife that you do so much with. But only right hand tip up for this knife because it has so much going on for it. That's the Spyderco Tropen. And then the last statement knife of the year 2019 to me is this one. Released earlier in the year, it's the Subvert. I like this beast of a knife. It's a big, thick knife. Yes, it takes up room in your pocket. Yes, it's a big knife. But man, when you put it in your hand and it's open, I feel good to have it there. It's not a belly. It's kind of a fat neck like mine. You know? But I love that belly neckish right there. It cuts great. It feels wonderful in the hand. Spyderco spent some time on this knife as well. With the pivot, the designed pivot, which is just great. I love the orange. It's not smooth G10, but there's a little bit of texture, but not that much. Like I said, luxurious. I love the orange and the gray. You have the orange backspacer, the gray liners. See those? The clip is just normal. It's right hand only clip. You can see that the small lanyard hole goes through everything right there and becomes kind of part of the design. It is really well done. Liner lock. I believe those are titanium liners, by the way. Isn't that beautiful? That's a beautiful knife. Is it different? Yes. Beast of a knife. And it feels not as heavy as it looks. It is a heavy knife. 6.1 ounces is heavy. Okay? But it's so well balanced and so nice. It's the Spyderco Subvert. I'm counting down all the knives that I purchased in 2019, and there's a heck of them. I haven't even counted them. You see those knives on the table? Those are the knives left that we're going to go through. That's after 8 episodes of this mini series already, where I've done multiple knives in each episode. So that's coming up next. A lot of great knives too. So I hope you're enjoying this series. I enjoy bringing it to you. You have a perfect day. Take good care of yourselves, all right? Don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Let people know that this is happening on this little channel here. Keep those pockets full. Goodbye, everyone.